I devoured that so quick. I don't know. Oh my god. Wow. My darling. This is going to be such a long video, or it's not. It's going to be one or the other. I actually don't know what to expect from this video, but we will see. Anyway, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Eilidh, and if you're not, then hello. It is good to see you again. I've put off doing this video. One, because there are so many things we need to get through, and two, it kind of terrifies me because I have books everywhere at the moment. Like, my shelf looks so empty. Like, I genuinely didn't want to show you. Like, I had this whole idea of where I was going to film this video, and it was going to have a really nice aesthetic background with all of the books, and then I took everything off, put it on the floor, because like, organisation, and everything looks so empty now and just messy and disorganised. So we're back on my bed and you can see one bookshelf. But anyway, we are going to go through every single one of the books that I read in 2024, and that's going to be so long. But we're going to start off with some things. I'm going to try and do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to talk in depth about each of the books because there are too many books that we need to get through. If you want a more in-depth what I rated them, how I felt, then I do have a monthly wrap up of every single month somewhere in my channel, something. I think I started off doing them really well and then forgot I was doing that, so there's a mid-year wrap up somewhere, and then the rest of the months following. So there are those. So if you want that, then you can just find them. They're somewhere on the internet, somewhere. But yeah, this one, we're gonna try and rapid fire through everything. So I'm gonna tell you all of my 5-star firsts, because like, these are the ones here. These are my 5 stars here. Obviously, these are all gonna be the ones that I'm gonna recommend you to read as well. But I wanted to go through my Goodreads information as well. Like, they do the 2024 year wrap thing. I actually don't know what it's called. Oh, 2024 year in books. So I want to go through that. And also we're going to rapid fire through all of the books that I read in each month, and then my most favourite and then least favourite out of them. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, let's do my Goodreads, my year in books thing, because like this is fun. This is, what did I read this year? Oh, I want to screen record that. How do I screen? It's not letting me screen. Hello, we are recording. Cool. So my year in books 2024. It's looking good. It is looking good. So in total, I read 31,917 pages. That's a lot. That's a lot. We read 82 books in total the whole of this year. My goal was 80, so the fact we read 2 more, great. Mwah, perfect. My shortest book was 59 pages. That was Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, and my longest one, oh, I loved this book, was Of Darkness and Ruination, which was 710 pages long. I devoured that book so quickly. So quickly. It was great. It was amazing. My average book length was 389 pages. Oh. Most shelved, The Cruel Prince, obviously, 3 million. That's mental. But then my least shelved, and I was so surprised by this, was It's Mother Pucking Christmas. That's only been shelved by 14 people, I think, this year. I don't know, just it's shelved in general. Like, that was such a good book. I would recommend that book, especially Christmas time. I didn't realise like it can be that least. Anyway, my average rating was 3.9 stars, which actually in total, I have a tendency of like rating really highly on books because I feel so bad whenever I give something a 2 or a 3. So 3.9, yeah. Most of these books I gave 4 stars. So Then my highest rated book on Goodreads is The Ballad of Never After, and that's got an average of 4.5 stars. Wow, it's such a good book. And then this is like the overview of all of the books I read, and they've done it so pretty. Like, we're gonna go through every single one of these anyway, so yeah. But that is my Goodreads year in books. Love it. Anyway, I need this. I need my Goodreads. Hold on. Let's now go through all of my 5-star reads of the year. Each one of these obviously would recommend. And also they're the type of books that I will accept no criticism on. Like, if you didn't like that book, fine, fair enough. Just keep it to yourself. Don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear it. I gave these books 5 stars for a reason. And I don't give out 5 stars much. We've only read, I don't know how many. Hold on. We read 12 5 stars this year. Wow. So yeah, don't really give many books 5 stars, apparently. But the first book of 2024 that I gave 5 stars, it's not going to be a shocker. It was Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I can't remember this book much because it was so long ago. But haven't finished the rest of the series. But I remember absolutely loving this book, especially like the last pages. I think Sarah J. Maas is known for her like 50-page thing. So first 5 star. Then again, not another shocker, Bride. I love this book. It was the first like werewolf book that I had read, and I was obsessed. Like, forced marriage, forced proximity, knotting, spicy, vampires, werewolves, Ali Hazelwood's first fantasy book. I don't want her to stop. I don't. This was another 5 star. Then we had a Kindle read, and I love this series so much. But this is my favourite one out of all of them. My only 5 star out of all of them, and that was God of Fury. It was a dark romance. It was amazing. I was obsessed, like, from start to finish. Couldn't stop reading. Loved it. Next, Powerless, obviously, Lauren Roberts. No words. No words. So far, the whole of this series has been top notch. Top notch. Then, obviously, I'm missing a book. The Ballad of Never After and A Curse of True Love. This series has my heart. It literally just, everything about this series, both of these books, perfect. The Ballad of Never After was a reread, and I think I've given it 5 stars both times now. So yeah, yes. That's all I'm gonna say. Then Reckless, new release this year. I loved it. I loved it. That's what I'm talking about. This series is amazing. Both books, yes. Oh, hockey romance. I was actually really surprised by this book, and I loved this series. It was rule number 5. This book had me hooked from start to finish. Most of these books actually had me hooked from start to finish, but this book I only read because I saw the like 3rd one on social media, and like it was fan art that was pointing like coming up, and so I was like, I don't really like just reading like that one. I will read the whole series. I want to go into 2025 not doing that because sometimes it just doesn't work. But this one, so glad I read. 5 stars. Hockey players. I love hockey romances. They just hit the spot, you know? They just do. Then going on, Book of Azrael, dark fantasy, MMC, good guy, FMC, morally grey. I loved it. I honestly didn't know the direction that this book was gonna go. I think I was constantly guessing, and didn't know like what to expect. It kept me on my toes. And even though she's thick, she was so good and so worth it. And again, devoured it. We have, oh yes, Rules of Our Own. This was the one that had the fan art, and no words, just love. 5 stars. You want a hockey romance? Read this damn series. Read every single one of the books. The second one, you're just gonna have to brave through it. You just have to get through it to like get to the 3rd one. Or just don't read the second one. Read the first one and the third one. But the second one is like good in a way because it gives you more of a backstory to like a few of the characters. So it would help, but you don't have to. But definitely read the first one and third one. Just do it, please. Just do it. Hockey. Yes. 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 Then we have Henry. Daydream. Henry is my book boyfriend. I've never felt so seen in a book. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to see Henry. Really, that was it. It makes a person emotional. 5 stars. And then we have the last 5 stars of 2024. Throne of Secrets. Oh, my darling. I fell in love with Gluttony. It is because I read it in one sitting that made me love it so much. But still, yes. Yes, this series, this author, yes. I could talk about it for like ever, but we don't have forever. So I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Majority of these books I'm speechless for, but these were all of my 5 stars for 2024, and they were all worth it. All worth it. They are all worth the read. And again, even if like some of you might hate some of these books, just don't say that to me or I think I might cry. Yeah, I might cry. Okay, now let's get in to every single book that I read in 2024 with my most favourite and my least favourite. I'm scared. How this is gonna work, I don't know, but we are gonna try our absolute hardest to get this right, to do this as quickly as possible, so we're not here for like hours. I only have 82 books I need to go through. Slightly terrified, but it's okay. Anyway, we're gonna start off in January. I've got no idea how many books I read in January. Let me see. We read 1, 2, 3, 6. So we read 6 books in January, starting off the year strong. The first book we read was God of Wrath, which is the 3rd one in the Legacy of God series. I gave this a 4 stars. Then we moved on with Mountains Made of Glass, which is the 1st one in the fairy tale retelling. I gave this a 3. Then we went on to Heartless, which is the 2nd book in the Chestnut Spring series. I also gave this a 4 stars. Then we read Crown of Midnight, the 2nd one in the Throne of Glass series, depending on like which order you're reading it in. Well, yeah, it would still be the 2nd one. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I gave this a 4 stars. And then we went on to read God of Pain, which is the 4th one in the Legacy of God series. And again, I gave this a 4 stars. And finally, in January, we read Heir of Fire, which is the 3rd one in the Throne of Glass, which was my 5-star read. Now, if I'm taking the 5 stars out of the month, because I don't want to keep repeating books over and over and over again. So, not including 5 stars, my favourite book in the month was God of Wrath, and my least favourite, I hate to say it, but going off would probably be Mountains Made of Glass by Scarlett St. Clair. That's January. Next, February. How many did we read in February? Let's see. We read 1, 2, 5 books in February. Starting off with a dark romance mafia book, we have Ruined Secrets, which is the 4th book in the Perfectly Imperfect series. I gave that a 4 stars. Then we moved on to Iron Flame, which is the 2nd one from the, I don't even know how to say this thing, so I'm just going to say the 4th Wing series. I gave this a 4 stars. Then obviously we have Bride, my 5 stars. And then we've got The Right Move, which is the 2nd book in the Windy City series. I gave that a 4. And finally, God of Fury, which is the 5th book in the Legacy of God series, and I gave that a 5 stars. Now, again, taking out the 5 stars that we read, because obviously they were my favourite of the month. If I didn't read those books, my favourite would probably be The Right Move or Iron Flame, because they were both so good. I couldn't actually decide. More leaning towards The Right Move, actually, because that has a reader girl in it. And yeah, she tried to turn this basketball famous person into her book boyfriend. It was great. Or Iron Flame, because obviously the ending. Like, what? And just some of the stuff that happened in here. But my least favourite would probably be Ruined Secret. Just because it was a short mafia book, it compared to everything else I read. Like, not saying it's bad. That's the one thing about, like, these most favourite, least favourite. None of my least favourites were bad. I would still recommend every single one of the books that I have read this year. I don't think I've actually DNF'd anything officially. I don't think so. I actually can't remember if I stopped reading something halfway through. I don't think I did. I got close once. And that would be the only book I wouldn't recommend. We'll get to it. But anyway, that was February. Now, moving on to March. Sadly, we read nothing in March. March was my probably biggest month of when nothing was read. Yeah, no. So, moving on to April. April, we read 1, 2, 9. Wow, we really jumped in April. Starting off strong with Daughter of the Pirate King, which is the first one in its series. I gave this a 4 stars. We then moved on to another dark romance, which was Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. I gave that 4 stars as well. Then we have my favourite, Powerless, 5 stars. Love, will never shut up about. Then we went and read a lot of Kindle books. Starting off with Throttled, which is the first one in the Dirty Air series. I gave that 4 stars. Then we binged, and I mean binged, the Vicious Lost Boy series, all of which I gave 4 stars, starting off with the Nether King, then the Dark One, then their Vicious Darling, and finishing off with the Fae Princes. This series, if you're gonna go into it, be careful, please, but it is also a guilty pleasure series. I'm not saying the writing of the plot is good. It's generally just the characters and the chaos that happens is the reason why I loved it so much, and just sat down for probably 24 hours and read them all. Then we finished off April with the Ever King, which I gave 4 stars, and I think I actually did DNF the second one in the series. I think we started reading it and I think I gave up on it. So probably, yeah. But anyway, that was April. Then let's move on to May, where we read 1 book. We've gone down, so this is probably my, April. Oh yeah, favourite book in April, Daughter of the Pirate King. Good. Least favourite in April, Where's Molly? That book just didn't hit for me. But it still was a 4 star. I don't know why I gave it 4 stars. Anyway, May we only read 1 book, and that was Stolen Touches. So I guess that's my least favourite and favourite. I gave that 4 stars. Then again in June, Stolen Touches I read in May. I'm confusing myself now. And then in June again, we only read 1 book, and it was a reread for me, and that was Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is when I was trying to get out of my slump. It didn't really happen. So yeah, probably for like 2 months I was in a massive slump. But I gave this a 4 stars. So again, it's my least favourite and favourite in the whole of the month. Right, this is when we start picking up a little bit more, because in July we read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8. We read 8 books in July. Let me grab them because they're right over the other end. Carrying on with the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, we read The Ballad of Never After, 5 stars. A Curse of True Love, 5 stars. Then we read Once You're Mine, which is part of a series. It's a dark romance. I only gave it 3. Didn't love it. I think I overhyped it in my mind, but didn't love it. Then we moved on and read A Deal with the Elf King, which is the first book in the Married to Magic series. Loved this book. Gave it 4 stars. Surprised the hell out of me of why I loved it so much. Then we read the 6th book in the Legacy of God series, which was a new release, and that was God of War. Gave it a 4 stars. Then we went on and read Wild Love, which is the first book in the Rose Hill series. Also gave it 4 stars. I think was this a new release this year? I can't remember. Then a new release. I think it must have been released, was it last year it was released? I don't know, but I loved it and I loved this series. Throne of the Fallen, 4 stars. Probably if I reread this book, it will be a 5 stars. I think I only gave it a 4 because I was annotating it and it took me a while to get through. I still haven't annotated it. I've tabbed it, but I haven't actually gone through and annotated it. I don't think me annotating books really mixes well. But yeah, if I reread it, it'll probably be a 5 stars. But I gave it a 4 and I honestly can't wait for the rest of the series. But that was my July. Throne of the Fallen is my most favourite and my least favourite would be What's Your Mine. Still such a good month, we're good. Now, probably the best month in the whole of the year, August. August I read so many books and I'm kind of scared to go through them all. But we read 1, 2, 20. We read 20 books in August. I think there was one week I literally finished a book every single day, so read 7 books in that series, in the week, and yeah, this was my best month. So let's rapid fire through them quickly. First, starting off with Powerful, 4 stars, made me cry. Then Reckless, 5 stars, has my heart. Then we've got the rule book. It's the second one from the cheat sheet, so it's like in the same world, but you can read it as a standalone. I gave it 4 stars. Then we read Kindle, which is the 6th book in the Perfectly Imperfect series, and that was Fractured Souls. I gave it 3 stars. Then we read the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and that was Caught Up. I gave it 4 stars. Carrying on with another Kindle read. God, we read so many Kindle books. It was the 7th book in the Perfectly Imperfect series, and that was Earned Dreams. I gave that a 3 stars. Then my 5 star, the first one in the Rule Breaker series was Rule number 5. 5 stars, loved, read it. Then we went on and read the Book of Azrael, the first one of the Gods and Monsters series. 5 stars, loved it. We then moved on and read the second one in that series, which is Throne of Broken Gods. I gave that one a 4, read that one on Kindle. Then we went on and read Lightlark, which I gave a 3 stars. Didn't live up to the hype that I thought, but I'll read the second one eventually. Like, I'll get around to do it and hopefully we'll pack it up again, but yeah, gave it a 3. Then we read the second book in the Rule Breaker series, which is Rules of the Game. I gave that one a 4 stars. Then we went on to read Rules of Our Own, which is the 3rd one in the Rule Breaker series, and that was a 5 stars. I loved this book. Because then we went on to read the novella in the Rule Breaker series, which is Rules Rebreak, which again I gave a 4 stars. We then read Of Darkness and Ruination, which is the first one in the Star Queen Chronicles series, and I gave that a 4 stars. We then read the first book in the Deadly Divine series, which was Nectar of the Wicked. I gave this a 4 stars, and then following on with the second one, which is Wrath of the Damned, another 4 stars for me as well. We then read The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. I only gave it 2 stars. It's because I didn't understand the language and how it was written. It was really hard for me to read, so that's why it's only 2 stars. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to a dyslexic person at all, so it was a 2 stars. Then we carried on with the Chestnut Spring series. This is when I just wanted to finish the series and I devoured them all. Starting off with Powerless, we gave a 4 stars. Reckless, which was another 4 stars. And then ending the whole of August was Hopeless, and that was another 4 stars. And again, taking away all of the 5 stars that I read, because obviously they were my favourite ones, but if they weren't in it, the most favourite, I have 2, I couldn't decide, was either Hopeless or Powerful. I did love it. It was so good. And then my least favourite, obviously the only 2 stars in the whole month, The Great Divorce. And that was the best month, is August. So now let's move on to September, which is my birthday month. Oh god, I need to put these all down. Okay. So, in September we read 1, 2, 3, 8. We read 8 books in September. Starting off with a Greek mythology, Hades and Persephone retelling, Neon Gods. I gave this a 3 stars. Then we went on and read a dark romance, which was The Ritual. It is part of the Lord series, and I gave that a 4 stars. We then read The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is the first one in its series, and I gave this a 4 stars. It was actually a reread, because I didn't enjoy it the first time. I don't think I pay attention to it enough, but the second time I read it, loved it. We then read the second one in that series, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which again, I gave another 4 stars. We then read Quicksilver, which I need to reread. I need to reread this book because I only gave it a 4 stars, but I don't think I actually understood it, like the plot, well enough. If I did understand the plot, then I think it would have been a 5, but I loved the characters too much, so that's why it was 4. But yeah, we read this. Then we moved on to another dark romance, and that was There Were No Saints. Well, There Are No Saints in the Sinners series. This was the first one, gave it 4 stars. And then we went on and read Daydream. I loved it so much. My beautiful book. I gave it 5 stars. And then the last book in September we read was The Veiled Kingdom, which is the first one in its series, and I gave that a 4 stars. So again, taking away the 5 stars that I read, my most favourite was The Veiled Kingdom. And I really don't want to say this, but out of all of them, my least favourite was probably Neon Gods. But still read this book. Still read it, because the rest of the series is delicious. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, right. In October, we only read 2 books. This is when I was going through another semi-slump thing, and the first book that I read this month, well that month, was Collided, which is the second book in the Dirty Air series. I only gave that a 3 stars. And then I read Grimstone, which was another 3 stars, and out of the 2 I would say I enjoyed Collided more than I enjoyed Grimstone, so that would be my most favourite and least favourite. Yeah. Then we have November, and November I read 1, 2, 3, 7 books. So we're picking back up in November. Here we go. Started off the month with reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I only gave it a 2 stars. It just didn't live up to the hype it got, so 2 stars. Another 2 stars, Survive the Night. I don't even want to talk about that book. Then we read The Cruel Prince. This got me out of my slump. It was the Folk of Air series. First one, 4 stars. Mwah. Reread. Loved. Another reread, obviously the second one in the series, The Wicked King. Again, loved it. Then we read the second book in the Veiled Kingdom, The Haunted Air, which I gave 3 stars. You could tell it's like a filler book. It's bringing you up to the big one, so cannot wait for the new one to come out. And then we read Throne of Secrets, my 5 stars, my baby, my gem, my everything. You're so cute. And then we read Phantasma, which I gave a 3 stars as well. It's the first one in its series. And that concludes November. So, taking out the 5 stars, my favourite book of the series was The Cruel Prince. And my least favourite was Survive the Night. No. I tried. No. We're on to the last month. Now let's talk about December. I think we ended the year so well because we read, how many books did we read? 1, 2, 16. I was almost at my 20 mark, so this is probably the second best month of the year that I had, and it brought me back to my love of reading. I will say that, August and December remind me of why I love reading so much and why I decided to make it my job. So let's go through December. Starting off with an amazing book that I loved, Fear the Flames, 4 stars. She's so good. Amazing. Then Queen of Nothing, we finished the series, another 4 stars, my favourite in the series, loved it. We then started with our Christmas books with Ali Hazelwood, and that was A Cruel Winter with You. I only gave that 3 stars though, just because it was like a short novella book, quick, snappy, got me there. But then we read Wild Eyes, which is the second one in the Rose Hill series. I gave it a 4 stars. Then we read, I still can't get over this book, Lights Out. I gave it 4 stars. If you are going to read this book, listen to the audiobook if you can, because Josh, the narrator, the guy who speaks, yeah, him, mwah. Oh, good. Oh my god. Can't get over it. Then we went on and read Priest, which was another 4 stars. Loved this book. Loved it more than I thought I was going to love it. Then Leather and Lark, which was another 4 stars. The second one in the Ruinous Love trilogy, 4 stars. Then we read another Christmas book, and this was when I was doing like my Christmas stuff. So that was Merry Ever After, the second one in the Under the Mistletoe collection. I gave it 3 stars. It's Motherfucking Christmas, which is the first one in its series, which I gave 3 stars. And then we read How My Neighbors Stole Christmas, which was a 4 stars, and the best Christmas book I have ever read. We then carried on and read Apples Dipped in Gold, which I gave 3 stars. It is the second book in the fairy tale retelling series. Then we read Electric Idol, which is the second book in the Dark Olympus series. I gave 4 stars. Love Eros and Psyche. Then we read Blood of Hercules, the first one in the Villains of Law series. I gave it 4 stars. Obsessed. Need to reread, but more importantly I want to listen to it again because I'm kind of getting into my audiobook, so yeah. Then we read Filthy Rich Vampire, which I gave 4 stars. It is the first one in its series. I cannot wait to carry on. Love. Then we read Wicked Beauty, which is the third one in the Olympus series. It was another 4 stars. And then the last book that I read in 2024 was Radiant Sin, which is the 4th one in the Dark Olympus series, and I gave this one a 3 stars. Now, I don't think I read a 5 stars in December, but anyway, my most favourite book in December was Lights Out, obviously, no argument there, and then my least favourite was probably Merry Ever After. Damn! We did it! I'm so tired. I feel like I'm gonna get hiccups in a minute because I have been talking so quickly. But that was December. Jeez, I need like a reward for flying through that. Wow. So that is every single book that I read in 2024, all of my 5 stars, all of my most favourite and least favourite books. Honestly, there isn't a book in the ones that I read this year that I wouldn't recommend. Even if I really didn't like them, I would still say to someone to give them a go just because I love hearing everyone's opinions about books so much. But yeah, that's it. I think that's it. We read 82 books in 2024. I still can't believe that. And I'm excited for what 2025 has. We'll see how many books that I get through. My 2025 TBR video will be coming out soon. There are so many new releases that I want to read and series that I want to complete, and just standalones that I didn't get to read this year that I really want to do. So I will be talking about all of those in, I think it's my next video. It depends on when this comes out, but it will be in that video. But again, if you want a more in-depth rating wrap-up thing, then check out my wrap-ups for each month somewhere. They'll be there. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Tell me how many books you read in 2024. I would love to know, and if you would recommend any of them to me, because I will always take a recommendation. But I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Mwah, peace, goodbye. And enjoy 2025. So Happy New Year. Okay.